Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today we have the brand new Tier 5 Premium British Battleship, the Agincourt, in port to review today. Now, currently the ship is not available for outright purchase on the premium store. The only way you can get right now is in the Battle of the Beast containers, which can also be the, not the containers, but I'm sorry, the Battle of Jutland containers, which can be obtained through the Battle of the Beast event. You can earn the tokens from the Battle of the Beast event and then use those tokens to purchase the containers. The containers are also available for doubloons and just outright for cash right now, which is how I got the Agincourt. I was lucky enough to get it on the first round with the first draft of containers, so got off pretty easily there. I did also get the Koenig Albert as well, very lucky. I don't think that's normal RNG for the containers, I just got lucky. But anyway, before we get going, big thanks to Patreon for allowing me to be able to purchase those containers outright and get the ship to review for you guys today. If you wish to support the channel, Patreon is the best place to do that besides just watching the videos. Link to it is in the description down below, and thank you to those guys on screen right now for helping support the channel. As many of you know, I am not a CC, so any bit of donations certainly helps out a lot, as I do not get any of the stuff for free from Wargaming. Anyway, let's take a look at the ship herself. Very pretty ship, I must say. The recent premium models have been absolutely phenomenal, and the Agincourt is certainly not exempt from that. Just looking at all her details, you can see in the bridge and stuff. Very, very, very nicely well done. Alright, so let's take a look at her stats. Again, no modules or captain skills have been applied as normal. So let's go ahead and look at her armor layout first off. Oh, she does come with a 10-point commander if you do manage to get her in a container. So, 19mm upper bow, but 102mm icebreaker bow right there. So that's a big middle finger to everything. Then 152mm cheek plating, 229mm armor belt, and a 152mm upper armor belt. This thing's a proper dreadnought, very, very tanky ship there. And she has a 102mm wraparound on the stern, and 152mm cheek plate right there on the stern, both a 19mm upper armor belt, 19mm deck, 38mm mid deck, and a 19mm foredeck. So, pretty well armored ship. Alright. Let's take a look at her citadel, but of course this is a dreadnought battleship, so the citadel is below the waterline, and as you saw right there, is covered with this turtleback armor. So yeah, you're not citadeling this ship unless you're at range with some very large guns. Alright, so hit points 48,400, a little low for the tier 5 side of things. However, of course, this is a very well armored ship, and the British battleships have lower HP than their same tier counterparts. 14% torpedo damage reduction, though not the best torpedo protection ever. Her artillery, so she has 14 305mm guns with a 36-second reload time and a 180 time of 45 seconds base, and a maximum dispersion of 213 meters. She has a 31% chance of starting a fire with her HE shells, and her HE shells do 4,400 maximum alpha damage, and they can pin 76mm of armor. Her AP shells can do a maximum damage of 8,100, and she has a maximum range of 15.3 kilometers. Her secondaries, though, this is actually a secondary ship, believe it or not. So she's got 10 of these 76mm secondaries with a base range of 5.5 kilometers, 4% chance of starting a fire, and a 2.7 second reload time base. And then she's got 20 of these 152s, which can pin 25mm of armor, have a 4-second reload time, and a 12% chance of starting a fire on a target, and a range of 5.5 kilometers base as well. So these can actually get out pretty darn far once we get some modules and some captain skills on there. So, dang. Alright. Maximum speed of 22 knots, so 1 knot faster than the Tier 10 American battleship Vermont. A turning circle radius of 670 meters and a rudder shift time of 13.4 seconds. That's actually fairly quick. All right, concealment by sea of 11.9 kilometers and by air of 8.7 kilometers. For her equipment, she just gets a damage con and a repair party that repairs for 242 hit points per second, is active for 28 seconds, and reloads in 80 seconds. All right. So we're going to go ahead and module her out and get a high point commander on her. We'll reconvene here for that. Alright, so with the module build, I went with main armaments mod 1, damage con 1, and secondary battery mod 1. For the commander, slap my 21 point commander on here, well, my 21 point British commander. Went with preventive maintenance, MLG turrets, long range secondary battery shells, improved secondary battery aiming, adrenaline rush, close quarters combat, and emergency repair expert. And yes, it is gone finally. So now let's see what this does to the ship. So for the main battery guns, we now have a 36-second 180 time, so we can fire on one side by the time the guns rotate, fire on the other side. The secondary guns now have a 7 point. Oh, hold on, we need to put the flag on there too. I almost forgot about the flag. Oh, and I did get the Jutland veteran camo too, so there's that. But man, the Agincourt camo looks freaking wonky, and I kind of really like it, so we may keep that on there for now. But yeah, anyway, so let's mount those flags and yeah, sure, why not flex on them with the economy flags too. All right, so with flags on here now, the secondary guns can get out to 8.3 kilometers at tier 5. That's nuts. And they have a 2.3 second reload time now on the 76s, and a 3.4 second reload time now on the 152s. And the 152s, which there's a ton of these, can pin 25 millimeters of armor. That's more than enough for tier 5 ships. That's more than enough for tier 7 ships. So that's great. Oh, one thing to notice too, yeah, there's no AA on here. There's no AA, so that might be an issue if we get in a double CV game. Like, we don't even have Philip on deck with a Lee Enfield or anything. Like, there's no AA guns. I mean, makes sense, Battle of Jutland era Dreadnought, but yeah. Alright, but yeah, everything else should be the same. Okay, we're at 23 knots now with the speed flag, so yeah. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, take her into battle. I'll meet you guys there. Alrighty. So after playing this ship in 5 matches, this ship is fun. She scores high on the funometer, boys. And this ship, when you're at least mid-tier, and you got a secondary build on the ship, there's very few ships that can withstand the might of your broadside. The secondaries are extremely, extremely accurate for tier 5. The range is very good too. I know I mentioned this in the Oklahoma review as well, kind of the same situation here, but this ship has so much more of them, and they are very, 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 very good as well. So add on top of that those secondary guns, then add those 14 guns that you got with your main battery, those 14 305mm guns, and at your tier, there's not much that's going to walk away from an engagement with you if you get all those guns to bear on your target. Not to mention too that the HE on these guns is quite good. You've got 14 guns, so when you got HE loaded, you're throwing 14 HE shells at the target. It's not, am I going to start a fire? It's, how many fires am I going to start? Throughout the playthrough of the ship that I had, it wasn't a situation where it's like, oh, will I start a fire here? It's no, I must start a fire and they're going to burn. I had several instances of me starting 2 or more fires on a ship with the Agincourt. Very rarely did I not start a fire using HE. And that's a very good thing for being double up tiered, because this is a tier 5 ship. You can get up tiered to tier 7 games. 3 of the 5 games I played in her were tier 7 games. How'd she do? Thanks to the HE, when you're in range, she hangs in there quite well. I got 55,000 damage, one doubled up tier game. That was my first game with the ship. And then I got 70,000 damage in the second double up tiered game. In the first double up tiered game, I was still trying to use AP as the primary munition of the Agincourt, which it's a British BB. I don't know why I thought that would have been okay. But yeah, second round, used HE a lot more. and it was way, way, way more effective as a ship. Now, the AP is good, don't get me wrong. You're throwing 14 shells at the target. When something shows you broadside, like a cruiser or another battleship, and you have AP loaded, they're going to regret it. They are. The guns, accuracy-wise, accuracy through volume. It's like throwing, well, I was going to say, you throw enough crap at the wall, it'll stick, but you're literally throwing another wall at the wall with the amount of guns that this ship has. It's got 7 turrets. It's hilarious seeing the bar at the bottom of the screen for the reload time indicator. It looks goofy. It's like the length of your I don't even know what that bar is called at the bottom. I've been playing this game for freaking 4 years. Of your consumable bar, I guess that's what we'll call it. It's the same length as that. It's freaking ridiculous looking. Only outdone by something like the Atlanta in terms of that. But anyway, so that's definitely the ship's strength. The secondary guns, the primary guns, and the armor. The armor on the ship's very good. Once you get used to angling with it and trying to bait people to shoot either your cheek or your 102mm strip on your bow or your stern, you can definitely tank your fair share of damage in the game. But, of course, you do have less HP than other Tier 5 ships, so fires hurt a little bit more in that department. But what's the big downside? The big downside of this ship is, first off, 15-kilometer range, no way to extend that. You're stuck with it. You don't got a fighter, you can't equip the range module because you're only a Tier 5 battleship, so you're stuck with that 15-kilometer range. Which, when you're in a Tier 5 match, not a huge deal. When you're in a Tier 6 match, you might be a little frustrated the first couple of minutes of the game, and maybe the last couple of minutes of the game when, the last couple of enemy ships are trying to sail away, or you're trying to sail away and you're being outranged by, like, everything. But when you get to a Tier 7 game, that's definitely where it hurts the most, because most of those ships are going to be well out of your range for most of the game, because they have at least a 3 to 4 kilometer advantage on you in terms of main battery range. Even some of the cruisers there, too. For instance, I ran across a Lazo. Very good Lazo player. Was hella annoying the entire time, and definitely farmed his fair share of damage off of me, and he was outside of my range. I couldn't do anything. Other downside, no AA on this ship. None whatsoever. Like I said in the intro, ain't even got Philip on deck with his Lee Enfield. No AA. Meaning that CVs, there's literally nothing you can do. Just got to try and maneuver. That's it. You can't even apply losses to their planes. Like, even if the ship had bad AA, like the Verbus Unitus that has 2 AA guns, you're at the bare minimum, at least doing damage to their planes. In the Agincourt, that's just not happening. You aren't even doing damage to them, so they can pretty much hit you free if you're not near a friend or two. And again, how long are those buddies going to sail with you? You might have a guy that stick around with you for a minute or two, but you got to follow them. But then you're in a battleship. If they're in a cruise, they're going to leave you in the dust, and so forth and so on. And what really does hurt is that down here, double CV games are pretty common. I didn't have any, thank God. But double Tier 6 CV games, double Tier 4 CV games, Tier 6 to 4 CV games are totally possible at this tier and aren't rare. So in that case, when you have 2 CVs teaming up on you, try to dodge, and that's it. But speaking of dodging, the ship is quite maneuverable. Very maneuverable for a Tier 5 battleship. I was very impressed with how fast this thing turns. Now, does it stop on a dime and turn on a dime like the American lower tier battleships? No, but for a Tier 5 battleship in general, the ship can move. It can boogie. She can boogie, boys. When you combine all this together, the good HE, the large number of guns, the very good secondaries, the decent maneuverability, this ship is surprisingly good at dealing with destroyers. There are several cases where I just removed destroyers from the match with 1 salvo for my main battery guns and then just a couple of secondary hits. They're gone. They're done. Because even with the the different ratios of damage that you're doing to the destroyers, the battleship caliber guns, there's only so much they can do when you're throwing 14 shells at them, and they just cease to exist. It is beautiful. But of course, DDs do kind of have to mess up for that to happen. But even then, when you're firing at them with all your guns, if half the shells hit, they're going to be hurt, especially if you got HE loaded. So HE definitely the main armament of the ship. If something's crawling up and you think they're going to show you a broadside, get your AP queued up with a 36-second reload time. even if you take expert loader or whatever the skill is called now, you're still gonna have like a frickin' 16, 17 second reload time switching from AP to HE. So it's really just best to keep whatever's in the tubes loaded and just shoot at them. Even if you have AP loaded, again, 14 AP shells, it's gonna hurt them. But if you have HE loaded, then you'll be good to go, and that's kind of what you do need to do with the Agincourt here. So overall, is this ship worth dropping a bunch of money on the loot boxes right now and getting? No. This ship will probably be in the armory after this event, or if it's like the not the Ohio, the God, what's that? The Oklahoma. If it's like the Oklahoma, it'll be in the shop in a day or two. The Oklahoma had kind of the same deal going on. You could get her in an event for free, but then they went ahead and added her into the premium shop later in the day. As of right now, I just checked, the Agincourt is not in the premium shop right now. But if it does come up and it's for sale, it's only a tier 5. It's only going to cost like, what, 25, 30 bucks. I think that's a decent price to pay for a ship that's pretty fun. And tier 5 matchmaking, well, I had pretty crappy matchmaking, but overall tier 5 games are pretty okay in terms of gameplay. Plus, if there aren't enough players around, the slots do get filled in with bots, and bots love to Unga Bunga, and you have a ship that's very good at Unga Bungaing. So if that does happen, you'll have a great old time there, and you'll not net quite the profit too with the Agincourt. Is it a great British battleship trainer? No, not really, because you do have to put a secondary build on it, and every other British battleship has like 3 secondary turrets, so she's really not worth it for a British battleship commander trainer. But I do think she makes up for that in the fun department. This is seriously one of the more fun ships that I've played in this game very recently. Plus, Deadeye's gone too. Well, Deadeye was never really even a factor at tier 5 because of the detection range of the ships down there, but things are a little bit closer now, even when you get up to tier 7. But she's a good ship, a very solid ship. I do think she is worth just participating in the Beast event right now, the Battle of the Beast event, because you can get her for free, potentially a completely free ship. You get enough of the Beast tokens. You can buy a couple of the Jutland containers with those tokens, and you can potentially get this ship for free. And if that's the case, then that's the best case scenario for you. If you're willing to risk it for the boxes, I would say just drop 20 bucks on one of the bundles, see what you get. You get the ship, great. Don't get the ship, no worries. Again, like I said, I'm sure she'll pop up in the premium store eventually. We haven't been confirmed that, but just based upon how these event ships go, they do normally wind up in the premium shop afterwards. But if you can get her for free, get her for free. Either way, very good ship, very solid ship in my opinion, very fun ship. And that is my first impressions review of the new Tier 5 premium British battleship, the Agincourt. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you managed to get lucky and get your hands on her this early, let me know what you think of her. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 30,000. We're on our way now to 30,000 subscribers. Make sure you go check out Tuesday's video and enter in the competition there for the giveaway of one of 5 Tier 9 premium ships. Again, thank you guys for getting us to 25K, and we're really excited to get on our way now to 30K. Anyway, guys, finally, hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday, and hope to catch you guys in the next one.